Hi, everybody. We are live. Welcome to Sunday night live stream on my channel. My name is Anita, and I have been following this animal-based ketogenic lifestyle for, I don't know, years, 10 years. So I want to let you guys know that if this is your first time, we treat food like medicine here. This is where we learn about the proper human diet. I show you guys how I've lost 145 pounds. Talk about issues, and it's not just recipes. I do a lot of recipes, but also we just talk about life and topics. Tonight I'm going to be answering lots of questions that came to me over the last couple of weeks. Well, a few of them anyways. I do get common questions. Before we do that, just a couple of housekeeping things though. We have a giveaway tonight. There's two moderators in the live chat. We have Bonnie and Melissa. Melissa, her handle will come up as Copper's Carnivore Kitchen, and so that's how you know that it's Melissa. And Bonnie is Bonnie. And giveaway. It is a box of orange element salt. So all you have to do is put salt in the comments and you will be given an entry. Now, if you put salt in the comments 5 times, the program will just ignore the other 4 and just still give you 1 entry. So save your keystrokes for the questions. Because 1 entry. But we will draw that at the end of the night, and whoever wins, I will mail you that entire box of element. So we have a video of the week as well, and the video of the week is a video from, it's Don Layman. Dr. Don Layman and Dr. Gabrielle Lyon are having a chat about protein. And it's very pertinent to some of the questions that I have gotten this week about protein. And it's really just a starting point. Those two, Dr. Lyon and Dr. Layman, have a whole bunch of videos that they've done together on her channel. I can't remember if he has a channel or not. I think a lot of them were done on her podcast and on her channel. So the one that I left there, I chose that one because it answers or they talk about at least 2 or 3 of the questions that were brought up to me this week. And so that's why I chose that particular one. But I would suggest that is just a starting point. Dr. Layman knows a whole lot about protein. So, that's his research. That's his life's work, is dealing with protein. And he's like an authority on it. So, binge watch their videos. Like once you watch that one, I'm sure more will come up in your algorithm. I would encourage you to watch all of their videos. They go into so many deep dives about protein. So there you go for that. That's the video of the week. So I was just about to say it'll be in the notes below. So what happened was, I don't know, it was a weird day and I did not populate my notes below. I'm going to have to do it as soon as this is over. I will throw all the links that we're talking about and all my usual stuff. I will throw in the video notes below, but it'll be after this is over because obviously I can't do it right now while I'm talking. I'll get distracted. So there you go. So let's start off with some of the questions that people typically ask me about about anything. Like some of these are nothing to do with protein. Some of them are just general questions that I got this week. And I like to use questions that are fairly fresh because I kind of know what I already said to that person and I'll share it with you. But this question here, I get this question. This is probably a question I get more than any other question. I get it almost every day, either emailed or as a comment on one of my videos. How much protein per day should I eat? Well, let's see. I'm going to just take that off. So I hate to say it, but there is no firm answer, magic answer. This is how much. So I have been using, and this is based on Dr. Lehman and Dr. Lyon. They are in this ballpark as well. I personally generally use 1 gram of protein per pound of my goal weight. So the RDA is 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. And a kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So I'm like double. I use double what the RDA is. The RDA is a minimum number. And I hear, well, I've had emails of people throwing that number at me. It's supposed to be, 1 gram per kilogram. They throw that number at me as though it is a fact, when in fact it's not a fact. It is the RDA, which is the minimum. Some people need more, and so the minimum should just be considered the minimum. And so for me, my goal weight is 150 pounds. And so, I target, I'm not always successful. I target 150 grams per day of protein. Now, I just want to also be clear, because this is where some more confusion does come in. 150 grams is not the weight of the protein. It is macros. So, 1 pound of, or I think it's a 4-ounce burger is about 40 grams of protein, something like that. So it's going to depend on the meat. It has nothing to do with the weight of the meat. A chicken breast, I think a 4-ounce chicken breast has, I can't remember now, but I do know a can of salmon because I eat canned salmon a lot. A can of salmon, which weighs about half a pound, has 51 grams of protein in it. And so if if you kind of think of these different proteins, just look them up, just even if you just look them up once and know, okay, every time I eat a hamburger, I'm getting this much protein. Every time I'm eating a can of salmon or a can of sardines, I get this much protein. It makes it easier for those people who don't like to track, but they want to make sure that they're getting enough protein. So in the video that will be linked down below after this live stream is over, they talk about their opinions on the RDA, and so they talk about the fact that the RDA is the minimum amount. Dr. Lehman kind of likes a little bit less than Dr. Lyon. Dr. Lyon is that one gram per pound of ideal body weight person, and he could go a little bit less if he, but they both agree that the RDA is nowhere near enough, and that we need more or less for various reasons. So, for example, I am a beyond middle-aged woman in my 60s. I don't want to lose any muscle mass that I already, that I have. And if a woman in my age group does not eat enough protein, we are prone to becoming frail. There's a thing called sarcopenia, and it's where we lose muscle mass, we start to get weaker, we get hunched over. Eating enough protein to not only maintain the muscle mass that I have, but even build new muscle mass, that is important to me. And so that is why I target high. I don't always make it, but even if I can get into the 120-ish, 130 gram range, I'm pretty happy with that. The 150 is a great goal, and sometimes I do make it. So this brings me to the next question, and this gets left as a comment on so many of my videos. People are they're trying to reprimand me because I eat I'll eat a meal that has 50 grams of protein in it in a day, and I get this. I thought you can only eat 30 grams maximum at a time, and various versions of this comment. Well, so Dr. Sean Baker, I guess about a month ago, he put up a video that he had a study, and of course I can't, that's not linked below, but he had a study that it basically was debunking that whole thing. Dr. Lehman and Dr. Lyon also bring this topic up, although they are coming at it from a different way. Dr. Lehman says if you're going to have a meal that has a large amount of protein in it, try to make it your first meal of the day. And he talks about having, I think, 45 grams or so of protein. If your first meal of the day is really high in protein, he thinks that's a good thing, and he gives all the reasons in that video. And so, I'm not just kind of making this stuff up. I'm taking, these things from people that I trust, and I trust Dr. Lehman. And so that brings me to another point I wanted to make, is that you've got all these people on YouTube. They're all saying something different. You've got this person who says you should eat more fat and less protein, have a stick of butter, lower your protein. And then you have people over here saying, no, you need to have, 150 grams of protein, lower your fat, and everything in between. Well, they're not all wrong. They just are coming from different points of view on what has worked for them and what their context is. So if you think about somebody like Dr. Bright, who I guess she's the one that started talking about sticks of butter a couple of years ago, and everybody jumped on that. I've heard her since then saying that she wishes she had never said stick of butter, because it isn't really what she was saying. Which, if you listen to her carefully in the videos where she was being interviewed, some of those interviews used very clickbaity type headlines on the thumbnail. Eat a stick of butter. You're gonna, you're gonna lose all your weight. Eat a stick of butter to lose, 400 pounds or whatever. I don't like those types of titles. I don't like those types of thumbnails, but people do them. They have their reasons for doing them. What she has clarified since then, and you'll never see that on a thumbnail title, sadly, she has said, no, that's not what I was saying. I was not saying to add a stick of butter to your meals. I was saying that women should have the equivalent of a stick of butter throughout the day worth of fat. So 8 tablespoons of fat is a stick of butter. That could be in your pork belly. It could be in your ribeye steak. It could be a piece of butter on your, on your hamburger. It is easy to eat that equivalent throughout the day. She did not mean for people to take it like add a stick of butter to whatever you're eating now, and it's only, the more the better. No. So you got to take these things in the context of what people, you have to listen to the whole thing or read the whole article. Don't just look at those headlines. So just a cautionary tale there. So my point in bringing her up is that she's coming from a point of view of hormonal changes in women, and that fat is good for that. So she's focused on women getting enough fat. And then you have other people who are bodybuilders. You got Coach Bronson, obviously he's like, building muscle is his thing. And so, the higher protein is going to be important to somebody like him because he's working out, he's building muscle. Someone like myself, for the reasons I just explained, I don't want to get sarcopenia. I don't want to lose muscle mass. I don't want to be hunched over before my time. The protein is important to me, so I'm trying to focus on protein first. Then you have people who say they are, they're having mobility issues, or maybe they've been through a surgery. Those people definitely should be looking at eating enough protein for recovery. Protein is a major building block of our bodies. So these are the reasons for focusing on protein. Some people do better with a lower protein and a higher fat. Fat is really good for your mental health, cognitive issues. I mean, I'm just reading Dr. George Ead's book about, I think it's called Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind, and she talks about the fact that if your fat is high enough and your protein's at a certain level, you'll be in ketosis. Ketosis is good for your brain. Everybody's coming from a different point of view. So their point of view might be right for you in this moment of your life and might work for you right now. But that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. So, it's all about adapting to different changes in your life. You have an injury or something like that, you need to recover. You might need different macros during that time. There's just so many reasons and so many variations, depend on your medications, your age, your activity level. That protein range where we talk about is just, say, 1 gram per kilogram, or if it's 1 gram per pound, they're both not wrong. They're both right for different people at different times in their life, anywhere in between. And it's a matter of finding that sweet spot for you. So what works for you and what works for you may not work for me. So that whole thing with the, you can only have 30 grams and this is how many you should have, it's not a thing. It's whatever, eat the right amount of protein for you, and you may have to experiment with it. So let's see what other question I had this week. Oh, we already saw that one. It's this next one. Yes, so there's people that comment on my videos because I'll admit it, I like my meat to be a little bit rare, on the rare side. I would never call my meat raw, but I do like it to be rare or medium rare. Medium rare, we can still be friends if you cook me something medium rare. Anything beyond that, no. But that does not mean it has to be the case for you. If you like your meat well done, have your meat well done. You do not have to eat your meat raw or rare. And if I'm cooking something in one of my videos and I'm having it rare and I'm having 150 grams worth of protein on it, you don't have to do that. That's me. Whatever's working for you. If it's working for you, you keep doing it. Don't worry about what I'm doing. That's just a personal preference. There are some people out there who say that if the less cooked your meat is, the more nutrients. And I haven't looked into whether that's true or not. I don't know, but it can't make that much of a difference. I just can't see it. And if well done meat is what makes you happy and what you can get down, that's what you need to do. And don't worry about the loss of a percentage of a nutrient. I mean, let's put this into perspective here. If my choice was to eat, conventional store-bought meat and cook it well done, compare that to what I used to eat, which would have been, something like a bag of chips and some Twinkies, ice cream, all that kind of stuff. I mean, aren't I ahead? Aren't you ahead? Like who cares? This is about progress, not perfection. And You eat the meat cooked the way you want to eat it, and you eat what kind you want to eat. Don't worry about what the naysayers are saying. And if you see people on YouTube eating raw chicken and raw liver and testicles, just turn that off and go to one of my videos. They're happier. Ignore those people. Don't need to go there. Okay, what's next? Let me see. Don't forget to put salt in. Oh, okay. Here's my next question. So I did get a lot of questions about the sardine fast and the omega challenge because I've been doing a few videos like that, and so those questions come up. So somebody did the sardine fast, 5 cans in water a day, 1 meal a day. I don't know how someone eats. I mean, this is. I'm not judging. I'm just saying I they impress me that they can eat 5 cans in 1 meal. They were doing it with tallow and butter, but now they're constipated and they wanted to know what to do to help. And they were going to just switch to pork belly that day because they still can't go. Well, they were on the right track because when you are constipated, if you're doing carnivore, even keto, when you're constipated, add more fat and that will help. My suspicion, and they didn't get back to me on it. I gave them the same answer I'm going to give now. My suspicion is because they were doing 1 meal, they had their 5 cans of water-packed sardines there on the plate. They would have had to have taken about 10 tablespoons of butter or tallow on that same plate to come up with the equivalent of the sardines in olive oil. So I'm guessing that they probably were really short on fat for those few days that they did that. So if you are going to use water-packed sardines on this challenge, whether you're doing the omega challenge or the sardine challenge, you really need to make sure you add 2 tablespoons of fat per can of sardines. So, whatever that is for you, your own olive oil, butter, clean mayo or tallow, whatever, bacon grease. I saw that in the chat there, I saw Kathy from Kingdom Way come up. She cooks her sardines in bacon grease, and I love that. And so that would be a great way to go. So definitely it was good that she switched to pork belly that day. I'm sure she's probably already solved her problem by doing that because that's almost 80% fat right there. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, take that away. And okay. So this was an interesting question that I got. I don't know how people can do this meat diet with nothing fresh on it. Do you know by any chance what's going on here? How do people just eat meat, never crave anything fresh? I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong because I'd like to be as satisfied as others are who only eat meat. Any thoughts on this? So, well, first of all, the word fresh I thought was interesting because, I eat fresh meat and I like it. Of course, I cook it. But I think what it is, if you're feeling that way, I'm going to guess that you're fairly new with carnivore and like maybe under 6 months, I'm thinking, because there was a time when I sort of was thinking to myself, in early days, I would wonder, well, what if I crave this or that? And it was sort of I wasn't sure how it was going to be not having vegetables. I actually was pretty convinced that I was going to crave salads. It hasn't happened. I was pretty convinced that I would crave these types of, what some people consider like fresh produce. That was such a big part of my life, I mean, I was always buying, the freshest, most organic produce, all that kind of stuff. But I think that that didn't turn out. That didn't happen. I am finding that I do crave meat. When I go into the grocery store, I don't even walk through the produce aisles. Like I head straight to that meat department. I get excited when I see packages of meat with, lots of white fat on them. I'm like, oh yeah, that one. I want that one. And I'm the person who rifles through all the steaks to find the ones with the most fat on them. I crave that now, and that is not something I expected in early days. I did not see that coming, and I've heard a very similar story from other people as well. That over time they started, the longer you're on this journey, the longer you crave, or sorry, the long I really screwed that up. The longer you're on this journey, you start to crave these things that we're eating because that is what we're designed to eat. This is the proper species appropriate diet for human beings is meat and animal fat, and maybe some seasonal fruit, or even roots or something. Like I don't know. I can sort of imagine that our ancestors, would find something and go, that's not bad. But they would only find it for a short time. But they're 90% of what they were eating was animal meat and fat, and depending on what part of the globe they were from. So to me, it is something, it feels very natural for me to not crave the vegetables anymore. I don't, that question, made me scratch my head in puzzlement because I didn't get that. I did, like, what do you mean crave fresh vegetables? I do not crave them anymore. But in the beginning, I was pretty sure I would. So, I guess I'm just sort of holding out for those of you who are in that position where you're wondering the same thing, like how am I going to do this? Like, how will I go for the rest of my life without a fresh salad? Well, first of all, I mean, that's your choice. And second of all, 6 months or a year from now, let's talk and see how you're feeling about that salad. And I think you're going to feel different than you are right in this moment. So let's see. Give it a chance and see what happens. And especially, once you give this a fair chance, and I'm not talking about, so I have a number of people who email me and say, I'm carnivore, except that I'm still doing diet soda. I'm still having this once a week. I'm still, on the weekends I do I'm not talking about that because those cravings are going to stay with you. You keep eating the stuff you crave. You're going to continue to crave that stuff you're eating. It's just a vicious cycle. If you go 6 months very clean, without those extra things, I think you're going to find that you feel a lot different about things than you do right now. You're going to realize, oh, I can live without that. The earth is not opening up and swallowing me. And I'm feeling really good. I tell you, yesterday, guys, I was up and down a ladder all day. I have a monster wisteria. I have to bring a picture of it one time. It goes probably 30 feet along one side of the driveway, and then 20 feet across a fence, and then another 10 or 20 feet that, like, it literally takes about 4 days to prune it when it's pruning time. And so I'm up and down a ladder doing that. I never would have been able to do that a few years ago. Never. Like, inflammation is gone. It's muscles are building. Balance is there. I just would not have imagined it. I would not have imagined it. I think it's a life changing thing, and I just, more than anything, I want other people that are my age to know that it's not too late. It's not too late to turn your health around and get off what meds you're on and get your mobility back, improve your mobility. All those things are possible if you kick out the seed oils, kick out the processed foods, kick out the grains and the sugar. I don't care. I don't think everybody has to be, carnivore. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now because I feel the best. But I think that people, if they're following, what Dr. Berry calls proper human diet, whole foods, one ingredient. I think if that is the mainstay of what you're doing, you're going to get those benefits. You just have to give it time, and you have to be willing to tweak a little bit. And there's hope. There's hope. So yeah, I hope you guys just keep doing that. So I see that there are some questions and comments building that the moderators have saved for me. But I want to remind you guys about the our giveaway. We have a box of Element that I will mail out. This one is orange. 30 packs in here. So that helps you with your hydration. It helps some people with leg cramps, that sort of thing. So you'll get that. And at the end of the night, so in about half an hour, we're going to draw that. Actually, a little bit under half an hour. We are going to draw that, and I will mail it to you. So I'm going to head over to the questions and see what you guys have for me here tonight. Well, I want to say hi to a couple of people here. Oh, just Jason Keto, thank you for being there. Hello, Martha and Danny, Bobby, Patty, Sandra, Billy. Oh my goodness, so many people. I will not bow. That's awesome. Jazzy Mama, hello. Mike Shaw TV, hello. Lisa, Yvonne, hello. Lynn, hello. Monica. Oh boy, okay. Too many for me to go through. Proud to be weird, love that name. Too many for me to go through. I shouldn't even try. Becky, hi Becky. Okay. Let's see. I better go to the questions. I could spend 10 minutes saying hello to everybody. I'd love to, but let's do the questions. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Sandy, welcome. Welcome to the club. Thank you for becoming a member. The Carnivore Collective, do you still find value in butter bites yeah, tallow butter bites too. Actually, I like the tallow butter bites best. So the way I make those is I do half butter, half tallow, and it mostly cuts down the cost because butter is so expensive now. Like I pay $8.99 for a pound of butter. And so using half tallow is a good thing. I save it from, like I cut it off when I trim a brisket or something like that. I save that nice white fat, render it down, and you can make half and half. It still has that buttery taste. So where I find the value in that, like for instance, the other day I did a sardine challenge. Well, actually it was the omega challenge. And I had some water pack sardines, so there's no oil on those. And so I added a couple of butter bites to the side. So I always have a little baggie of them in my freezer because, there's times when I have something that is too lean. There's a video coming out this week, and it's just a very quick video where I make these sausage patties. I like them. To me, they taste the best made with ground chicken. Ground chicken is super lean. And so if I eat a plate full of these patties, I have to have eggs with it, or a couple of these butter bites would be great with it. Just because, sometimes I just choose meats that I like. There are certain ones that I do like that are they're just too lean, and so the butter, the fat is kind of a lever that I can use to make sure the macros that I'm trying to follow are being followed. And so yeah, they're handy. They're handy for that kind of thing. Carrie, do you have any info on keto-friendly doctors in New York City? I don't, but I believe that there might be some resources out there. I think the two that I've heard of, I'm in Canada, so we can't even find a family doctor here, which is ridiculous. But Dr. Barry apparently has some kind of a database of keto and carnivore friendly doctors. And also Dr. Sean Baker. He has that new company, Rivero. I understand there's a waiting list. All the doctors, all the YouTube doctors, usually have a way where you can get a consult with them, for payment, of course. I know for a fact because I've seen them. Like I've seen the links for how to book appointments with them. So people like Dr. Sivis, Dr. Chafee, you can book a consult with him. I'm pretty sure most of those doctors, you would be able to book a consult with them, get blood work done, that sort of thing, and converse with them about your issue. So, that's about all I know on that subject. Like I said, here in Canada, you're lucky if you have any type of a doctor. Okay, next question. Hi, Kathy. Kingdom Way Keto to Carnivore. When in a sardine fast, initially you usually burp up the taste, but after 3 days you don't do that anymore. I know there's a reason. Do you know why? I heard Dr. Boz talking about that, and now for the life of me, I don't remember what. Could the reason just be your body gets used to it after 3 days? Does that mean we have to do it for 4 or 5 days before we don't? I generally, I remember the first time doing a sardine challenge. I remember I felt a little bit burpy, but I generally don't anymore. And I'm wondering if maybe because I include sardines actually quite frequently throughout the week as well, I maybe my body has just said, okay, she's not giving it up with these sardines. We're gonna let it go, and maybe that's why I don't anymore. I'm just kind of used to it now. So. Sorry, Kathy, I can't remember the exact reason, but I know it was Dr. Boz that explained it in a recent video. So if you can find that video, that might help you. Debbie Lindsay, I like the fact you do the cooking videos and you show me visually what you eat, because then visually I can see on my plate what I need to have. I'm not a numbers gal at all. Yeah, and I get that. It's one thing to hear somebody rattle off a bunch of macros and, 70-30 and, this many grams and all that stuff. But it's a different thing to see the actual plate of food. And I think I did do a live stream, and maybe I should do another one at some point too, where I had actual pictures of plates and what the macros were. I know that some people find that really helpful, and so I'm going to put some thought into how to make this easier, because it can be it can be a very confusing subject, to even talk about, never mind have to try to figure out, what you're going to eat in a day. But thank you for that comment. Pluripotent protoplasm. Aren't we catabolic in the morning? There's no reason to lower protein, but maybe later in the day that would be more important. I have no idea. I don't even know what that means. I have no medical training. I don't have, I would check in with one of those protein doctors I mentioned in the beginning, because I'm not really sure. Always going to be honest with you here. Okay, your thoughts, and Borg, your thoughts about electrolytes, how much per day, and what to look for in the brands. Okay, so I do take electrolytes, obviously. I have them here to give away. I like this brand. This one is good for me. I've been using it for a couple of years, but I've also tried other brands too, and they all work. Now, what I didn't know is that they all have kind of a just a slightly different distribution. Like Element has they've got 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium, but the other electrolytes have a slightly different balance of these nutrients. And so if Element doesn't work for you, one of the other ones might, and it might just be that difference. So I have tried the Keto Chow electrolytes. What I like about the Keto Chow ones is that they are these little drops that are unflavored. And those are really good for people who don't want to have a flavored drink. Now they do now have flavored ones similar to the Element. They're called salty, and so that. But again, it's a different balance of nutrients. This one works quite well for me and my purposes, but another one might be better. Those are the only. So I've tried the salty. I've tried these ones. I've also tried one from Amazon called Aussie, I think. And again, it was drops. I think they all will generally work, but one might work better, for each individual. So then the other consideration for many people is sweetener or no sweetener. So in the Element, for example, there is stevia extract, and some people don't want to do that, so they do have an unflavored. But same with the salty. There's an unflavored, and so you just need to read the labels, know which ingredients you're okay with and which you're not, and use that as your guide mostly. I think generally most of them will work, and for some people even just putting salt in their water seems to do the trick. Megan, I have no gallbladder. Should I eat more small meals throughout the day? I seem to have side effects when I eat 80/20. Yeah. Is less than 80% fat still considered keto? Oh, yes, it is. Yes. I Now I do know a lot of people, I personally know a lot of people with no gallbladders who are doing keto as well as carnivore. And the thing is, you need to go slowly. Like if fat is affecting you, you don't want to go day one doing, probably you don't want to go day one doing 80/20. There are times I go through periods of time when I'm keeping my fat around 60%. And traditional carnivore is 70% fat. So, there's no one number that is like, the definition of keto. It is the number that works for you. And with no gallbladder, you want to go slowly on that fat. You want to, start adding more fat slowly and see where you are. I mean, it makes sense that you have side effects with 80/20. Go to 70/30 and see how you do there. You might be fine there. You might have to, 65/35, 60/40, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're still, you can still make ketones that way. I try never to go less than 60% of fat. I feel like it affects my mental health, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's my age or something, but I feel best when it's more than 60% fat. It makes me feel good and stable. So definitely, definitely tweak that, and try to make yourself feel as best as you can. Joanna, I think I eat too much fat. My goal weight is 130. I love pork belly. Yeah, me too. I have neither gained nor lost in the 11 months I've been carnivore. How to lose those last 10 pounds? Well, I've been a long time struggling with my last 30 pounds. I know the pain and the feeling. And I think that any person I've ever talked to on any diet protocol ever, the last 10 pounds is a difficult time. And it is, you're moving by millimeters, and so, well, I'm Canadian, I use millimeter. You're moving by an eighth of an inch instead of an inch or a foot or whatever. You're crawling along. We don't know if it's too much fat, but if you are, I don't know if you track. I would look. If you're trying to get those last few pounds off, you might want to look at your TDEE and see what it says your maintenance level is, and go from there. Because sometimes when we are high fat, and high fat is good, for many people. But sometimes when we are high fat, we do lose sight of the fact that there's also calories involved. And so, generally, when I'm doing high fat carnivore, I kind of, it's a maintenance for me. And so the months where I have had a loss that month, if I look back, it's because I lowered that a bit. Sometimes intentionally and sometimes not. It's one of those things where I kind of need to be in the 60s, 60% fat range, and for the weight to start coming off, and that's not always comfortable for me. I feel best when I have more fat, but then that's a maintenance thing for me. So it's a fine line, and you're at that fine line, I think. So check out your TDEE, and be sure to read the part underneath where it explains, the calorie deficit and all that stuff, because the number it gives you is not your number. That is your maintenance number. So if you are not wanting to maintain, you need to, follow the recommendations that it gives you below. So I hope that helps. Lynn wanted to ask about fermented dairy. Do the microbes use all of the inulin carbs to the ferment of 36 hours? Yeah, I don't know if they use all of them, but from everything I've read, the majority of it gets eaten. So when you make the fermented dairy, you are using 2 tablespoons of inulin. If you follow the recipe that Dr. Davis gives us, you use 2 tablespoons of inulin, and either the yogurt starter from your last batch, or you're using, the little tablets, the L-Reuteri tablets. That 36 hours is how long it takes those bacteria to eat up all that inulin and do their magic. And so that's... in theory, we don't have a lab to test it. Dr. Davis had a lab, but we don't have a lab. In theory, the carbs that are in that inulin, because there certainly are carbs, you are correct, get eaten up. So when I'm counting macros on the L-Reuteri yogurt, I ignore the carbs in the inulin, and I put it in my carb manager the carbs just based on whatever the cream is that I'm using. So I hope that helps. Erica, any knee updates? I was climbing up and down a ladder for the last couple of days, so my knee is not doing too badly. There are days that it will ache. I think that when I eat sardines a lot or other high omega fish, I notice such a difference. It is like a magic pill for me. I am on the waiting list to get my knee replaced. I figured, the waiting list here in Canada takes so many years. I may as well just stay on it in case something happens between now and then. I break it or something, fall off that ladder. But I'm kind of leaning. I lean back and forth. But if there's a way that I can avoid that surgery, I think that's what I'm working towards. I'm, leaning in on the fish, leaning in on those omega 3s. I mean, I was thinking, do I take a supplement, an omega 3 supplement on top of all the fish I'm eating? Like just to, I don't know if that'll make it any better or not, but it definitely is not what it was a couple of years ago. There's been such improvement. So that's my update. The real test of everything will come when they call me and they say, okay, it's time for your operation. We will see. Okay, I'm going to give a reminder about the salt. If you haven't already entered this draw for the element, put the word salt in, and I got to get to these questions here. Oh, hang on, we're just going to check our... So we have 127 people entered. So I know there's more than that sitting here right now. So go ahead and get your entry in. And I'm going to move on to the next question. Has anyone gotten hives from too much histamine in their diet? I myself don't, but I know of people who do. And so for those people who have issues with histamine, obviously you're not going to want to do things like eating a lot of canned fish. You want it fresh. And, also aged beef could be a problem, that sort of thing. I have heard people talk about the fact that they, as they got cleaner, some of those histamine issues resolved, but that's just anecdotal. I don't really know anything about it. It's not an issue that I suffer from myself, and so I haven't really done a deep dive into any of that. But I do know, and any of you out there that are watching this right now, if you have a response for Lisa, maybe tag her and let her know, or let us know if there's anything that you've done that, to help alleviate this situation. It is a thing for some people, for sure. Donna is not currently dieting, but upping her omega 3 daily has really made a huge difference in how she's feeling. Yes, that is a good thing. Michelle, anyone have any way to take iodine? I do not drink coffee. I tried putting it on food, but taste it. Tried it in bone broth. Can't do it. 3 months on carnivore and feel very tired all the time. Well, we don't know for sure whether it's a lack of iodine or not. Have you been tested? I would say if anyone is going to... if anyone feels that they need an iodine supplement, maybe it's good to have that tested out first, just to make sure that is what is making you feel tired. It could be something totally different. But I don't know, maybe if I don't know if you could drink tea. Now, I've heard people say they can taste it in their coffee, so maybe if you don't drink coffee, don't start just so you can take iodine. Because you still might taste it. I'm not really sure if maybe there's pills. I don't really know. If anyone has any ideas for Michelle about how to hide that iodine in her food, then pass them along to us here. Okay, Debbie. Do you still make your own yogurt, and has it helped? And if you don't make it anymore, is there a reason why you stopped? Okay, so I make it sporadically. I have tried to make, I keep buying a fresh quart of cream, and I keep saying, okay, I'm going to make it tonight. and then it doesn't happen. So what happened was I was making it very regularly and I was having it every day. And then I left town for 5 days. I went to Tennessee and I did not have access, of course, to my yogurt in Tennessee. And I went 5 days. It was the first 5 days I went without it. And it was like, huh, I'm not having those same problems. Now, since I've been back, I've made it a couple of times and I enjoy having it. But the other day I was feeling really burny and I was wishing I had some. So I wish it was something that I could keep it on hand kind of indefinitely. I don't seem, I feel like I went through some healing with making it and having it for, I guess, 3 or 4 months. And now I kind of am borderline that I might need a little bit here and there, but not as much. So I don't know. It's I'm happy that I did it, and I will make it again. But I'm going to see if I can figure out how to make a smaller amount, and then I can just sort of have it as needed. So we're down to 5 minutes. I'm going to try and get these last couple of things in here. Catherine, hello from the UK. First time catching you live. It's what? What time is it? 4 a.m. there? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here and watching this live. Ripley's cat. I've lost 100 pounds and it was easy. I have 20 pounds to go and it's the hardest. Yes. It's like I forgot how I lost the first 100. I'm 61 female, by the way. Yeah, well, I'm 66. Our age is not working in our favor here either. We've had all these years to, our bodies have been abused and misused and everything else. And so things are going to be, they're going to take a little bit longer for us. And the fact that you've lost 100 pounds, I mean, that is amazing. I sometimes feel like, and I have 30 more pounds I would really like to lose. And I sometimes feel like, well, what if I didn't? What if I just stayed this way? I think I'd be okay. I mean, I think I'd be okay. Now, the thing is that doesn't mean, even if I accept where I'm at, that doesn't mean that it's the end of this journey and that nothing might happen along the way. I mean, I have zero plans to change anything that I'm doing as far as what I'm doing. I have zero plans because the alternative is to go back to over 300 pounds. And that's just not something I want to do. And so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and tweaking here and there. And I suggest the same for you. I mean, I talked about this in my last Tuesday talk about these long weight stalls. I've tried to reframe that in my mind as maintenance. If I'm staying the same weight, like, okay, so I've lost 145 pounds. You've lost 120 pounds. Like, these are dramatic numbers. How long have you been trying to lose this last 20? You've basically maintained 100-pound weight loss for quite some time, I imagine. I've maintained 145-pound weight loss for quite some time. There used to be a time when my weight was either dropping, because I was on a fad diet, or it was racing up the scale because the diet was over. And I would have 4 sets of clothes in the closet, 4 different sizes. And, I always needed one or the other, up and down like crazy. I don't have that craziness anymore. All the clothes in my closet are within one size. That's it. And that is the way I want to keep it. And I'm going to stay the course and try to tweak so that I will lose a little bit more. I feel confident that it's going to happen if I do the fundamentals: no carbs, no seed oils, no grains, no processed foods. get out in nature, get the sun in your eyes in the morning. It is going to happen. So I don't know. Let's just do it together and see what happens. Okay. Sid wanted to say thank you for your AWSM recipes. You're welcome. Judith, hello from Australia. Love your channel. Salt. I hope you win. So we're down to the last minute. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's do the draw right now. Time for the draw. Sherry Messina. Sherry, you have won a box of Element. What I need you to do is to send an email to ketogenicwoman@gmail.com with all your contact information so that I can mail you. Like I need your full. Well, if this, yeah, I have your name here, but I need your full address, the whole thing. So if you can send me that, ketogenicwoman@gmail.com. I will get this out to you this week. Congratulations. So thank you, everybody. That is it for tonight's live stream. We are at an hour. I really appreciate that you came and brought all your great questions so that we all can learn a lot together. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. Bye-bye.